Hello and welcome into the Cafe Nightly Show. I'm your host, the Goldsmith. It is the 23rd of July, 2024. And this is kind of a redux a little bit of last night, maybe, because we got to talk about Sparklet. We got to talk about the listing of Sparklet, getting ready for the listing of Sparklet, the realities of what that all meant. In a theory, in this idea that it was going to happen out in the future, that it was a couple weeks out. We talked about BitGet, and I'm going to make some corrections on myself. I'm going to make some, clarifications on a couple thoughts about, crypto versus a utility token and kind of the intersection of the two where Sparklet may very well, may very well lie here long term. And I'd love to see it sit there. But there's announcements, there's news, there's a lot of information here. Sparklet obviously listing. We have airdrop dates. We have a lot of specifics that are going to carry us through the fall. So it's a lot going on here. If you have Sparklet, if you're building Sparklet, if you're interested in the utility of Sparklet, hey, good to see you, Blue. The utility of Sparklet inside of Upland and what you're going to do with it moving forward. This is the time to actually get that information because we finally got it. We've been waiting on it, and there's a lot of specifics, and the specifics are important. Having dates are important. Having specific numbers are important. And Upland gave us all of those. So we'll get into that. That's a big deal. Little deal. Sparklet Salvatore Block Explorers. This is another UPX for a USD purchase with a sweetener Block Explorer. We've had these before. We'll have the conversation. We'll take a look at that. But we have to look at the main thing. And the main thing is the listing of Sparklet on a couple exchanges. The idea of now it is a crypto, or not yet, but very, very soon, it is a crypto. Very, very soon, it is going to be set up with, it out in the world. And very, very soon, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be a little bit upset because they've been in Upland for 3 or 4 years. And with the launch of this token, they're not going to be able to tie directly into a crypto or tie directly into a token that they've spent years earning and accumulating, hitting the market. Again, I personally am not one who's looking at my boom or bust or my opportunity to sell at the maximum price and then buy at the lowest, maybe buy at the lowest and then use it for utility. But no, I'm not looking at trying to cash out on Sparklet. There are people who may want to. That may be a thought that they have in their mind right now. And if that is it, some of the specifics of this may be a little bit upsetting for them. We'll get into some of the specifics, why it's upsetting, what the concerns are, but do want to play out some very positive things here, at least for me, in the way that Upland is handling the fact that they're diluting. Again, this is not a scary term in this case. There's some specific reasons why they did what they did, but they're diluting the stock a little bit of the holders for Sparklet. The way that they are giving out the Sparklet to those who have been holders of Sparklet and are continually active in the game of Upland is pretty interesting. So get into some of the models there, how that is being done, which is nice that we have some details now. And if you ask me, it's a little rich. It's a little stronger reward for those who are active than I think it should be. It's a little bit OP if you ask me from a gaming perspective, but I'm willing to put the effort in to get OP rewards. So we'll get into all of that. Good to see you, Dopest crew. And then, of course, on top of that, we have to circle back and talk about the decision and how this is done. And this is Upland's decision. And whether or not it's my favorite and whether or not it's your favorite. But again, I am going to try to put the facts out there and then put a little bit of a distance between my opinions and the facts, and also some context. When I put context out, that's not always a direct opinion. It's usually closer to fact. But again, it is a little bit tangential. So we'll get into all of that. We do need to get started with this because this is very, very, very important on a night like tonight. All views and opinions expressed by myself, they're mine and mine alone, should not be taken as game strategy or financial advice. They should not be taken as game strategy advice in Upland. They shouldn't be taken as financial advice outside of Upland, period. And again, I put that out there not just as a disclaimer to protect my bottom. It's also really about, I don't want someone to spend $1 million on Sparklet and then see the market does something different. That's not what we're doing when we talk about the news, when we talk about Sparklet. Obviously, I am a individual. I don't represent the game of Upland, the team of Upland. All views and opinions I express should not be taken as coming from the game of Upland or the team of Upland to try to differentiate between the facts and the opinions when they come. And then, of course, and if we do have any guests, we don't have any tonight. Their opinions, their things, anything they have to say that there's alone, I like to have them, but they shouldn't be taken as coming from myself, the Goldsmith, the Cafe Show, the team of Upland, the game of Upland. They should be taken as financial or game strategy advice. With that, let's go take a look. Good to see you, Trees. Again, good to see you, Dopus Crew, Blue, all that are out there. And again, if you're watching recorded, we're going to do a little bit of a redux of last night with some caveats because I do want to put out there corrections because I did get some people that had some concerns and wanted to correct where I made a mistake. First and foremost, to say there is no state in the United States currently where you can set up with BitGet. There was a period of time where it was state by state in the U.S. That is expired. That is past tense. My research is in the past because I forget to look at what is most relevant sometimes. And maybe my research is a little old because Upland gave us a couple hours. But reality, that is something to be clear. There is no place in the U.S. where BitGet is not restricted. There's that VPN trick, but I'm not suggesting anyone do it. Be careful of what your local restrictions are, including your country. Do not want to get involved in something that may or may not end up getting you in trouble in the future. Flat. That's the reality. And then let's get into the specifics. We're going to read the announcement before I come back around to the opinions, the side of things. Again, I did want to put that clarification out. I want to put the other clarification before I jump in here too. There's a difference between Sparklet as a investment, and there's a difference between Sparklet as a token, and it just having a speculative value, and the idea of Sparklet as a whole, which is exchangeable outside of Upland, but also with a very strong utility set inside of Upland. I look at it holistically, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but I just want to clarify that from last night as well. So just to jump in here to get started, of course, we've got to look at the announcement that Upland put out. We've got to look at some language here. And then we've got to look at some tables because the tables have dates and amounts and multipliers. And, it is a lot and it is great stuff. It is really great stuff because I like as many details as I can get. I like them as far in advance as possible. Don't tell me the day before, Upland, which is what we're dealing with today. I like that things are and can be put out there a distance. And when we can put them out there a distance, I really appreciate it. I like it. I love it. I'd love to see more of it. I'm trying one more thing here. Oops, that is the wrong one. Get out of there. Let's get back here. Get back to stop sharing there so I can go look at one thing before we get started. And to point out and to put out there, I really do want to say again, when we look at things like when we're going and looking at some things here for Upland, there's a little difference between what the opinion side of things and what the facts are. I'll get into the facts, of course, up front. I did want to put that out there one more time. Will be somewhat good. There we go. I'm being a good boy. I'm trying to be. Oh, okay. There we go. Now we're going to make it happen. Now I can do this. Now we can actually get into the meat and the potatoes because I did need to do one piece of housekeeping before we got there. And housekeeping out of the way, let's get back into the details that we all need to see. And of course, those are the pieces of the announcement that came out today. Very important ones. And here it is. And everyone, the time is finally come. And again, I like finally come. I like this language, except it was very quick. It is very quick on the heels of, hey, we're gonna have some exchanges. And, oh, by the way, we're there. 24 hours later, surprise, surprise. We have all the details about where Sparklet will be listed, along with some seriously impressive launch pool. Get into that and how it's impressive to me or not so much. Airdrops and overall prize pools that will go with it. This one is honestly a big one, and there's wow. Take a deep breath. There's no real way of TLDRing. Again, there's a lot here. We're going to get into a lot of details. We're going to hit them piece by piece. I'm going to take a deep breath, and then I'm going to worry about my opinion at the end. So please head over to the article to get the full details. Here we go. Again, Medium articles. These are the best ways to see it. Read the Medium article yourself. I do recommend it. We're going to read it through and hit piece by piece and touch by touch and try to go over everything that's in it with the caveat. We'll get some opinions at the end. This might be a long process, but we do want to hit some important pieces along the way. Again, historic Sparklet exchange listing, airdrop events in Upland. We'll get those details as we get through this pile of information. Sparklet will initially be listed on top exchanges, including BitGet, HTX, and Gate.io. Those are big exchanges. It's a fact. I'll get back to this with some opinions, but there's restrictions on those, but they're big. They are large in scale. These exchanges are unavailable to our U.S. players. Thank you, Upland, for being clear, for being opaque. Oh, I'm sorry, for getting away from the opacity, for being very clear up front. This is a known reality. These are not available to U.S. players. That is a reality as of right now. But Sparklet will be available on decentralized exchanges in the coming weeks. So this is how the launch is going to happen. Again, notice I am taking a step back. We'll have opinions at the end. Enabling everyone in Upland to participate again as they come into decentralized exchanges with a U.S. listing. We will continue to have Sparklet listed on additional major exchanges over time. The launch event will allow users to bridge their tokens to and from Ethereum, giving them the flexibility to buy or sell Sparklet outside of Upland to use and increase their holdings within Upland. That is the purpose of exchange listing. So people can buy who want it, people can sell who want to get rid of it, or they want to exchange their Sparklet for USD or for value. They can do that. But the person who wants it, they can buy it, bring it back into Upland. That's the entire purpose. That's the goal of us exchange outside of Upland for Sparklet, thereby creating more value for themselves and other community members. This marks a historic event for Upland, a historic moment, bit of time that we should all reflect on, and maybe we should have had more party, pomp and circumstance, fireworks shooting up in the air and exploding, because this is a big deal. As the first token to launch with an established community, utility, and platform behind it, this listing increases Upland's visibility in the Web3 and crypto spaces. I don't know if it's 100% the first one. I know that when Sand launched, I think they were already building the foundations of Sandbox, so I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but I do agree this is very true. We have a established community. There's a utility already built for it. Oh, the utility. That's the difference. The utility already built for it. Platform. All those things are there. And maybe it is. Maybe it's the first to have all three of those things. But it is exciting. We'll get into the details there later, or get into the opinions. Designed as a community token, Sparklet has no team, investor, or pre-sale allocations. Again, the team of Upland, the game of Upland, doesn't get an allocation built for the founders or anybody who's working for Upland, ensuring that tokens are awarded to players, creators, and developers who have helped grow the Upland ecosystem. A number of different mechanisms to reward our community and attract new players to Upland will be announced surrounding this event. We're happy to announce the first ones. Again, there are future ones coming. The BitGet launch pool and airdrops. This is key. The BitGet launch pool from July the 24th to August 3rd. BitGet is launching a special farming event where users can farm a total of 7 million Sparklet tokens. That's a lot. Visit BitGet to learn how you can participate and start farming Sparklet today. If you qualify, if you're not in a restricted country or location around the world. OG campaign. Upland will also award 3.5 million tokens. This is important. This is I qualify for this, so I'll take it. Exclusively to pre-TGE Upland Sparklet holders as part of an existing owner's airdrop campaign. Ooh. Upland owners who create and connect their BitGet accounts. Oh, shoot. I no longer qualify for this. Never mind. Hang my towel, hang my hat. No, we did know about this. We did read it through this announcement before. A lot of people have seen this. this is kind of known as of yesterday. If you do not qualify, even if you're an Upland, existing Upland Sparklet owner, there's a special event, a special qualifier, a special reward pool for you who are an Upland Sparklet owner who's spent years accumulating Sparklet, who spent years in the Sparklet ecosystem, who is now moving into BitGet. But not everyone can move into BitGet. Again, you have to connect your BitGet accounts to your Upland account to be eligible for this airdrop. You have to be eligible for a BitGet account to be eligible for this airdrop. In addition, BitGet will award an extra 50,000 USD worth of BitGet tokens, BGB, to players who have bought at least $20 worth of Sparklet in BitGet. I might have done that. Obviously, not applicable to me, applicable to others. We'll get into the value of my value versus others' value, because again, this is something where Upland's a large community. There's a lot of people in it. With a maximum of $20 in tokens per account. To be eligible, players in supported countries, thank you Upland for that language and that clarification, must connect their BitGet account to Upland. Users from unsupported countries will have matching rewards for their actions distributed in Upland or additional platforms. Ooh-wee. Again, Uplands in supported countries will be connected to BitGet to account to Upland. Users who do have who are not in unsupported countries who do not have the ability to get a BitGet account, they have matching awards for some actions. Those actions, again, distributed directly in Upland or the other platforms when they come through. Newbie campaign. Become an Uplander. Receive Sparklet. Bridge in Sparklet for a chance to receive unique and rare property. Stake your Sparklet for a chance to get a luxurious BitGet car. We looked at this thing yesterday. It was a mother flipping Corvette. I don't care if Upland didn't get the license to it or not. Maybe they get sued about it. That was a freaking Corvette. Keep your Sparklet in Upland. Get even more rewards. Again, a pool or a staking. Get it into Upland. Use it in Upland. There's more rewards along the way. We talked about that last night. We're gonna have some more details here. Get users, BitGet users who participate in the BitGet launch pool and bridge Sparklet tokens from BitGet. There are even more prizes to be won. This is exciting. Uplander campaign, launch pool, players who create an account in Upland. Again, this is one of those things where this is a real opportunity for people to come from outside the game of Upland to inside the game of Upland, have some utility inside the game of Upland, a reason to keep their Sparklet inside the game of Upland, and a potential reason for people to become Uplanders. That's the context. We'll get into the opinion later. Or above. They need to get into Upland and level up to Upland or above by August the 5th at 9 a.m. They will receive that extra 100 Sparklet tokens. 100 Sparklet tokens. That's a lot. Previously, a tenth of a spark, you 0.1 spark, you would run up and down a hill for that. You compete in a contest and have to get top 5 to get that. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's a big, big prize, giving you even more to boost your holdings. Sparklet Bridging Campaign. From now until August the 5th at 9 a.m. PT, the top 288 players, again, this is a leaderboard contest, who bridge the most Sparklet into Upland will receive a Treasure Island property. Again, 288 properties from Treasure Island, one of each, going to each of the 288 players who bridge the most Sparklet into Upland from BitGet, which I can't participate in. Keep going. Sparklet Staking Campaign from now until August 12th at 9 a.m. PT. For every 1,000 Sparklet BitGet users stake, again, have a BitGet account, attach it to your Upland account, they'll earn 1 point per hour. So 1,000, 1 point per hour, accumulatively, leaderboard. The top 5 players on the leaderboard who stake the most Sparklet will each win a special limited edition BitGet car. I would go for that. Corvette. Maybe we'll have a future opportunity. Additionally, 5 randomly selected players will also, or they will, win a S1 car in Upland. That's nice. Again, somebody's coming from outside of Upland. They get an Upland-centric prize. That seems like a pretty cool reason to stick around. You can't really use that somewhere else. You have no utility of that NFT car outside the game of Upland, they can learn about that utility. So I do like that idea. Additionally, 5 randomly selected stakers will also win an S1 car. I'm sorry, we did that again. Start staking now for your chance to win. Like I said, there is the mother flipping Corvette. I don't care. I don't care if you have the license or not. Upland, you better. More Sparklet. Finally, a snapshot will be taken on the 19th of August. All BitGet users participate in the launch pool, bridge in additional net Sparklet, and keep it in Upland will be eligible for a portion from a pool of 1.5 million Sparklet. There's a lot of allocations here. Look at all these Sparklet tokens going to people who participate with BitGet. This is amazing. The more Sparklet you bridge in, the greater your share of the distribution. Again, this is a reward for the people who participate in the start, in the beginning, in the nascence, where we come from, where we all come in new to this concept of Sparklet on Ethereum. This is something that is really large and huge, and this is something that is going to mark the future to move through. I could easily win a Corvette because of my activities. This is from Vern, but I can't because I'm a US player. We'll get into that, Vern. We will get into that. Again, that's the opinion. We got to get to the facts first. But yes, you can't, Vern. You can't. No. Similar contests for Treasure Island properties and cars will be available for all players once Sparklet launches on the DEXs. Okay, decentralized exchanges. Stay tuned for further announcements. So before we get too upset, we can look at that, look at it. It's an italic for a reason. So it catches our eye. So we know it's special. So we know it's important. Don't flip out is what Upland's saying, and I'm going to try not to. More rewards for Upland players. While existing Upland players can participate in the we are thrilled to announce even more opportunities specifically tailored for our community. Upland Spark Buyer Bonus. This is one I actually qualify for. Yay! For every Spark that a player has already purchased, I bought some, they will receive their proportional reward from the 3% purchaser pool reward. We talked about this before. We talked about when we had the new white paper, we had this allocation that's going to go from, it was originally 5.7, went up to 7.4, went from 7.4 up to 14 and change. 14 and change is a dilution of about 2 to 1. It's about what the dilution ratio ends up becoming. 3% of that increase, again, we say 3% of the entire lifetime supply of Sparklet. That's a lot. That's where that 3% purchaser pool comes from. That 3% is going to be, in essence, is going to be 20, about 20%, 20 and change percent of all the Sparklet's going to be held by Upland players who've held Sparklet in the past. That is going to be expansion of what's going to people who bought Sparklet, and it's going to go all out to us, which will be dropped on TGE Day. Oh, when's TGE Day? Let's do a reminder on that here in a second, and will be available for immediate use. I'm getting some Sparklet. And that's happening tomorrow. So maybe that's like a little bit of the sting, Maybe that's going to help with a little bit of the sting for not being able to participate in TGE. Keep in mind that a cooldown period of 48 hours is included in the bridging process, but on the day prior to TGE, the cooldown period will be 24 hours, aka I should be getting it. Players must collect their Sparklet bonus by August 7th, 9 a.m. PT. Again, if you're not an active player, wake up! By August 7th, 9 a.m. PT, you have to come and collect that Sparklet. You could have bought 100 Spark in the past, equal to 100,000 Sparklet. Ooh, that's a lot of Sparklet. So you got 100,000 Sparklet, and you're going to get rewards based on the 100,000 Sparklet. If you don't collect by the 7th, it is gone. Limited time offer only. To collect your Sparklet, simply log into your Upland account and collect it from a pop-up screen. Essentially, you're not going to miss that bad boy. But any uncollected Sparklet will no longer be available after this date. It goes back into the pool, that pool that's going to be around for Previous holders of Sparklet, people who owned Sparklet before TGE, for the activity rewards that are going to come later this fall. Seasonal Sparklet drops. This is big. Seasonal Sparklet drops. That's not all. We also have exciting seasonal airdrops for players, and this is what I thought was fun and dynamic. Upland will take a snapshot of awarded Sparklet tokens on the day of TGE. So I've earned a bunch of Sparklet. I've earned it. I've bought some. I bought a little bit. I've earned a lot of it. Again, everybody has their own amount of Sparklet. Some people have a lot more than me. Some people have less than me. It's the reality. But I'm happy with the Sparklet I have. I'm glad I have it. I'm going to be getting some more. You're going to be getting some more if you own some Sparklet. Now, for the next 3 seasons, there will be 2 drops each season to reward players who held Sparklet during the snapshot. The amount of tokens you will receive will be based on several factors. Sparklet won and earned. The snapshot calculation will be how much Sparklet you have right now minus the Sparklet purchase. That's it. That's the amount of Sparklet that you have won and earned. That's how that math works. Pretty simple. First, the number of Sparklet tokens you hold at the time of snapshot will be considered. If your current Sparklet count is lower than your original count, the lower number will be used for the calculations. What does held mean? It means that if I somehow had gotten rid of Sparklet or had lost Sparklet, it's not going to count as held. This is to ensure players are awarded in this drop for their pre-TGE awarded Sparklet that they have kept inside Upland. Additionally, your multiplier will increase based on the number of gamified earning seasons missions that you complete during each season. This is the big payoff for those rewards. We talked about the increase in your dividends, and that's been there. You do more, you get more. You get cut off at 5. At 5, you get your 3%, your 3 multiplier. You want to get more multiplier? You can go from 5 to 15 or 5 to 13. That's a big jump. Now, those incremental, do one more, has a significant different value. Let's take a look. Gamified earnings missions complete. You complete 1, you get a 1 times multiplier. 2, 1.1. 3, 1.2. 4, 1.3. 5, 1.5. Wow, it's fun. It's getting there. Watch this crap. 6 is 1.7, 7 is 1.9, 8 is 2.2, 9 is 2.5, 10 is 2.8. It was getting exciting. 11 is 3.2, 12 is 3.6 times, 13 is 4 times, 14 is 4.5 times, and 15, complete all 15, 5.1 times. You complete 15 tasks instead of completing 1 task. You are getting over 5 times as much Sparklet as a multiplier of whatever the coefficient calculation is of, this is huge. This is huge. This is huge. This is huge. And it's my ability to earn and to win. And it doesn't have anything to do with Big Cat. So I like it. Points are calculated by multiplying your minimum Sparklet count by your mission multiplier. Tokens are then distributed proportionally based on your points relative to the total and collected by all players. Done deal. Moreover, bridging in at least 500 net Sparklet during each season. That's bridging from outside the game, inside the game. Keep in mind there will be dexes in the future, so I will be able to participate. If you bring more than 500 Sparklet into the game of Upland, you will increase your multiplier by 0.25. Giving you a better chance to earn even more tokens. The upcoming seasonal snapshots are as follows. Again, keep in mind they're in the future, so that's good. We have time to work on this. With the corresponding airdrop occurring on a few days later. So we have August 30th, September 15th. Ooh, September 15th, very special day. If you don't know why, you don't know why, but it's a very special day. October 30th, November 15th, December 30th, and January 15th. Note, these numbers and conditions are subject to change based on analytical results from different drops. Again, if something weird happens and everyone completes 15 missions, I expect that there might be some changes in how these things happen. If everything happens within normal distribution, where there's only a few people who complete all 15 missions, then obviously things will probably stay the same. Stay tuned for more updates. Historical moment. This is an exhilarating time in Upland community. It is. The launch of Sparklet on major exchanges and the upcoming decentralized exchange listings mark a transformative event and moment in our journey. It does. It does. These innovative initiatives not only enhance the visibility of Upland within the broader Web3 and crypto landscapes, but also empower the dedicated players, you, me, everybody who's been in Upland for years, with unprecedented opportunities to grow and thrive. As we continue to pioneer and expand, your active participation and engagement will be a driving force behind our collective success. Get ready to stake, trade, and earn like never before. Together, we are building the future of our own digital ownership and gaming. Stay tuned for more exciting updates, and let's make history with Sparklet. History with Sparklet. Notice there's a dollar sign in front of Sparklet. Dollar sign in front of the Sparklet says we're there. That's our token. We're talking about a crypto. We're talking about something that can be exchanged and purchased outside the game of Upland with trading pairs, purchased for USD, purchased with crypto, purchased in other ways. But of course, it's exchangeable between parties. Now, that is a key note, and that is a good one. This is an important thing here. It is important to keep in mind that this is, for me and for many people, a expansion of the game of Upland. It is an opportunity and a location and your chance, hopefully, to expand your holdings of Sparklet if you choose to do so. It's an opportunity if you've been holding on to Sparklet for years and you gave up on the game of Upland. Shame on you. No, it's, again, people have moved out of the game of Upland for a lot of reasons. For financial reasons, for life reasons. They didn't have the time, the energy. They want to do other things. They want to play other games. They want to be other places. So they moved out of the game of Upland largely. They sold a lot of their properties. They chose not to hold assets in the game anymore. They sold their cars. They did this. They sold their map assets. Some people did this a long time ago, but they still are sitting on their Spark. And that hasn't been something that they could get rid of. That Spark transitioned to Sparklet. Now they have this big pile of Sparklet. They have nothing they can do with it because they don't care about Upland. They're not staking. They're not. But now they have the opportunity to take Sparklet out of the game tomorrow. If you're in the right countries, if you're in the wrong countries, in a couple weeks, you can take that Sparklet out of the game of Upland. And by taking that Sparklet out of the game of Upland, I can go ahead. This is way too big for me. I gotta make this smaller so I can see it better. Here we go. There we go. We can take the Sparklet out of the game of Upland and we could sell it. Again, when I said tomorrow, I meant tomorrow. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, July 24th, 2024. Here's the important thing to know. The market price was not listed here. I am not going to speculate on what the market price is. We do know from the white paper with this idea of dilution that it is likely, and I say likely with, kind of is likely lower than what people had originally forecast when they said 0.46 USD, aka 46 cents per Sparklet. That's based on a calculation or assumption of $460 per Spark, which was the for sale price of Spark inside the game of Upland. With the idea that we have that dilution again is to give people more Sparklet who bought it in USD, paid USD for it, give them more Spark let on top of the Sparklet they already received, because Upland's preparing to sell that at a lower price than they sold it previously. I'm okay with that. I've seen this type of dilution when we talked about and we saw things, or dilutionary reward, or an adjustment for dilution, or just adjustment to result in dilution for people who had previously purchased when a pooling price changes. I've seen this type of adjustment in things like in the game of Upland. We had the NFLPA mementos. They changed the pricing significantly. If you held one of these mementos at a certain date, you get a reward, or you purchased one, you got a reward. The reward was additional mementos. So essentially them saying new mementos are going to cost this much, which is less than it used to be. It used to cost this much. So now instead of this many mementos, you have this many mementos. It was intentional. It was an intentional solution for a problem created by a lower listing price. And again, when I say problem, reality that was created by a lower listing price. So we very much expect this to be less than the 46 cents. I am not going to speculate on the exact dollar amount because notice it's not listed with the exact dollar amount. We'll let that on the exchanges show up tomorrow. Yeah, I see Pikachu jumping in here. This is something I want to be very clear about, and I kind of make this point is yes, we can talk about this as a crypto community coming into Upland and the Sparklet becoming a crypto. Sparklet is a utility token that has the ability to be exchanged outside the game of Upland. People can buy it and in crypto terms, bag it, aka take it and hold it for a long time, maybe see what happens. I don't want Sparklet to be seen, and again, I'm not the arbiter of truth in the world, but I hope Upland doesn't support it. I don't think they do. I don't want Sparklet to be seen and to become this runaway speculative coin. I don't think that's what it's meant to be, and it's not what it's meant to be as far as Upland's concerned. As far as I'm concerned, it has utility. That's the beautiful thing about Sparklet. Theoretically, there's an adjustment clause inside of the white paper. If people, do see the speculative value of Sparklet, and we see Sparklet's value raise significantly and on its market basis, we could see the amount of Spark hours required to build certain things in the game of Upland decrease because of the increased value of Sparklet. We could see that type of adjustment means that people have even more reason to hold on to the Sparklet they still have, so that you don't have that cycle of boom, bust, boom, bust. And as the price of Sparklet goes up, again, with an increased utility, theoretically, you're getting the same utility per cost. That's the theory, anyways, of that type of adjustment schedule. And again, I like it and I appreciate it. And that idea is that there's going to be some type of stasis, or to some degree of blank cost is going to get you this much utility in the game of Upland for building. Again, Upland can adjust that over time. They can titrate it. Maybe it won't be exactly 1-for-1, but again, they do have that as a stopgap measure to push things along the way. Again, this idea, Pikachu, I do see what you're saying about this idea of rocketing and to the moon, and let's watch this go from I'm not going to give the value, but blank number of cents to $5. Woo! Again, that's not the point for me in somebody who's excited about the value of Sparklet listing. Me, as somebody who's excited about the value of Sparklet listing, is seeing it open up to a larger and broader audience, to see it open up for people who are in Upland to be able to sell if they want to exit. If they want an off-ramp, they can sell the Sparklet they own. If they want to acquire more Sparklet, they can acquire Sparklet outside of Upland and bring it into Upland. Upland will have official sales inside the game of Upland in the future of Sparklet equivalent or similar to the exchange rate or the market rate outside the game of Upland. Again, there is going to be some loss, or there will be loss when we talk about gas fees, but we do have that ability to bring that Sparklet back in if people buy it outside the game of Upland, because whatever the market value is, the person is more interested in having Sparklet than they are in the cost of Sparklet at the time. Bring that Sparklet back in, put it to use, because that's what Sparklet's all about. Sparklet is a utility token inside the game of Upland. Outside the game of Upland, it's a crypto. As a utility token in the game of Upland, it can be used to build structures. It can be used and exchanged, not today, but later, to make legits. And there's all types of utilities that will be there for legits, the way they can be used for token gating, the way they can be used for layer 2 applications, the way they can be used potentially for exchangeability, burnability, for access and events. So there's a lot that's there. And of course, there is other types of assets that Sparklet is used to construct, which includes vehicles, which are a big part of the gamification layer of Upland for now. And hopefully are going to continue to expand inside the gamification of Upland. And looking forward to see how Sparklet continues to build. And we say build because Upland literally is a property game, to build within the game of Upland, to continue to build assets, to continue to build structures, to continue to build opportunities for developers, because Sparklet's going to be able to be utilized by layer 2 developers. in staking pools and different events to allow them to develop their games and reward their users. Lots of opportunities for Sparklet inside the game of Upland. Outside the game of Upland, there's the opportunity to exchange it. You can buy it. If the price goes up and people buy it, they're buying it at a higher price. If the price goes down, it's cheaper to buy it. That's the way the market works. That's the way tokens work. But ultimately, once that happens, once the price goes up, once the price goes down, once the people buy it, it can ultimately come back in the game of Upland. Ultimately, that's the concept. There is this idea with vesting that Upland is going to continue to look at. There is this idea of launch pooling. There is this idea of the exchanges having a certain amount of supply that they can hold to kind of facilitate these exchanges. That's meant to stabilize how the market works outside the game of Upland. But keep it in mind, and very, very much so, the inside the game of Upland is a continued focus and is going to be a continued focus of Sparklet. The Sparklet to the moon thing, it would kind of make it less accessible to people who want to come into the game of Upland. So to parts of me don't want to see that happen. Yes, me owning blank amount of Sparklet currently, and you can go research it. The game of Upland allows that to happen. Or you could turn around and I'm going to have some more Sparklet too when these rewards pools happen. But I could hope that level of Sparklet becomes worth blank amount, and then I could sell it. But ultimately, that's not my hope. That's not what I'm here for. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what the future of Upland is to me. And so long as there's a future of Upland, which I think there is, I'm looking forward to what I can do with that Sparklet, and that's the continued changes in the game of Upland. So that aside, you could be excited about Sparklet. You could be excited about buying Sparklet because you think it's undervalued, more valuable later. That's your priority as a player. If we have people who are cryptos hounds in the audience who are excited about the crypto elements of Sparklet, more power to you. Good luck. But that's not what I want to see or how I want to see this get utilized. I really hope people don't try to do a run up. That's not what Sparklet's about. Do a run up and sell. I'm going to make a profit. That's not why we want Sparklet out there. And it's one of my biggest fears. It's a fear that I have expressed in the past for years about, Upland, please don't list UpX. If they list UpX, it's kind of going to destroy the game of Upland. They didn't list UpX. They're never going to list UpX. They did the Sparklet, which is not what I had foreseen. However, it was not Spark. Because they went and they did a smaller denomination of Spark, instead of listing Spark at $460 on the exchanges, which probably would have crashed and burned, they made a smaller denomination of Sparklet so it could see at a lower price at a level that there would be more appetite in the market. More appetite in the market means there's a larger degree of traders who might be interested. And hopefully those traders also become players in the game of Upland. Because again, this is a open currency. It's an open cryptocurrency that people can own and hold and do whatever they want with. Once they own that Sparklet, they could hold that and bag that for 15 years outside the game of Upland if they chose to do so. Hopefully they hold that and bag that inside the game of Upland and play the game of Upland and enjoy all the rewards that come along with holding and staking and using your Sparklet inside the game of Upland. And if you ever choose to sell it in the future, if the value goes up, absolutely take it out, sell it if that's what you want to do. But the goal here, the hope is that the native wallet, which is Upland, the native wallet, the place where Sparklet belongs, is what people utilize. You buy the Sparklet, you want to see what happens in 6 years, you want to see what happens in 6 months, bring it to Sparklet, bring your Sparklet into Upland in the interim, get into the game of Upland, see all the things that Sparklet can do for you. There are ways to take USD back out again while preserving your stock of Sparklet. There are ways to continue to build things in the game of Upland to expand property holdings and asset holdings and those assets and those properties. Lots of things can be done with those. Lots of expansion of utility can be done with those. You can even take the Sparklet holding that you bring into the game of Upland from buying outside the game of Upland and help use it to support your layer 2 and build the layer 2. And by layer 2, I mean a independent development built on top of Upland. And independent development could be a game, or it could be an experience, or it could be any type of program or app that could integrate or have some type of tie with Upland. Again, Sparklet could be potentially utilized or potentially integrated into that app that you have. So there's a lot of opportunities for Sparklet. There's a lot of reasons to try to acquire it, and the right place to bring it after you own it, as far as I'm concerned. And I would say the best wallet for it to sit in is going to be in Upland, and that's just because you have a reward for having it sit there. Unless there's another wallet that's going to say, hey, put your Sparklet here. I'm going to give 50 cents a month per blanket number of Sparklet. Maybe that's a great wallet, but really, it's designed to live inside of Upland. And I really hope that's where it lives. I'll take a look at a couple comments, and I'm going to get into some opinions here about the listing locations and the rewards. Because, again, I like the rewards, and I will get into some of the reasons why I like the rewards and why they make sense and why they encourage me as an Uplander to put more effort and thought and time and energy into Upland than I've been putting into Upland in the last 6 months, because I value Sparklet and the rewards are significant. And I'll get into those thoughts a little deeper. Let's take a look at some of these opinions. I do see what you're doing, Pikachu. So the no pre-investors, anyone buy the coin already? So Pikachu, sounds like you are from outside of Upland. You're Upland non-native. This is how people own the Sparklet previously, or this is how people got to own Sparklet. Sparklet was a native token inside the game of Upland. It was purchasable in many ways. It was also earned as a reward. This is over the process of years. It has utility in the game of Upland, which it will continue to have, which is what makes Upland the native wallet of Sparklet, the reason where it lives and why it has a special function inside the game. Yes, we all own Sparklet. Anybody who's in the game of Upland, they've earned a little bit of Sparklet along the way. Some people have earned a lot of Sparklet along the way, or purchased a lot of Sparklet along the way. So do they see, most Uplanders, do they see this as an opportunity or an off-ramp to sell all the Sparklet they've spent years accumulating as an off-ramp out of Upland to make a lot of money? I don't think a lot of people there are some people who feel that way, but a lot of people, again, are continued to be invested in the game of Upland in money and time. Money, again, I've got different thoughts about putting in money into the game today versus putting money into the game 5 years ago. But we do have a reality. And the reality is we do have, plenty of utility that we'll have in the future of Upland with Sparklet. As Upland continues to develop, there's going to be more utility for Sparklet and Upland. At least as far as I'm concerned, over the next several months, I'm going to do what I can with these rewards to increase my Sparklet stake, as opposed to decrease my Sparklet stake over the next 3 to 6 months. And again, the pre-sales, like I said, these pre-sales were not to buy Sparklet, because it never was, it never existed as such, as a speculative token. It was never the point. And to be fair, and to be honest, up until the fall of last year, anybody who owned Sparklet, they had no reason to really believe that it was going to become a token, because at a point we were said that we weren't going to be building a token. And then there was a certain point where with the conversion of Spark into Sparklet, making it a fractional currency or fractional token, there was the opportunity, made more sense to have that listed. And Upland started investigating that. They brought it to the community. They said, hey, are you okay with this? Is this something you want to do? Upon a successful vote, where people said, yes, we're actually interested in this. Upon that successful vote, that's when Upland started exploring, or continue to explore, the idea of listing. And here we are, a year, almost a year, 9 months, 10 months after Upland started talking about this, 8 months after the vote, something like that. I don't know, 8-9 months after the vote, whatever it is. I think it's about nine months after the vote. We are here. We actually have a listing. It's going to happen tomorrow. And we are inviting a lot of new people under the big umbrella that is Upland. And that's because once they own Sparklet, the idea is bring it in Upland, get some rewards for doing so, and then get some additional rewards. You get additional rewards by staking your Sparklet. There are exchanges inside of Upland where you're going to stake your Sparklet. You're going to get UPX as a reward, or essentially exchange. Somebody is paying to rent your Sparklet. That UPX is an in-game token. It does not have direct exchangeability or any token power outside the game of Upland. It does have utility in purchasability or purchase mint assets inside the game. There are USD out methods and options inside the game of Upland. I guess if you're non-native to Upland, hello, welcome. There is plenty more information to do. Maybe I'll put some videos out to say, hey, non-natives, welcome to Upland. This is how you can utilize the Sparklet now that you have it. These are all the things you can do. We can talk about that later. But welcome, Pikachu. Welcome, Pikachu. And hopefully you stay in Upland for Upland. Hopefully that Sparklet, while you hold it, can be utilized inside of Upland and grow your Upland account. And even if you sell that Sparklet at some point, maybe you'll still have that Upland account and rewards you earned along the way. Many of us own a pretty good amount of Sparklet in game already. Yes, Lily, we do. Vern, there will be investors that don't play Upland, but will buy Sparklet because they speculate that it will be a new Kaka coin that comes out, and the difference is that this one has utility. Yes, Vern, there are people who are buying it speculatively, 100%. That is a fear of mine. It's also a reality. It's also going to potentially surprise people. The people who buy it as a speculative coin may come into the game of Upland because, as I say, and I keep saying, I want people to hear this. The native wallet for Sparklet is the game of Upland. It is theoretically, it's custodially held inside the game of Upland. It is not like your Ethereum Sparklet. You're not going to be able to easily trade it and sell it for USD or for any other cryptocurrency. You are bringing it into Upland to leave it parked. It is essentially staked once it's in the game of Upland. And then once it's staked, it can be sub-staked. It can be rented in the game of Upland. It can be used for utility to build or to generate NFTs or create NFTs, or even exchanged in some cases for special types of NFTs. So there is some realities here. And there are some realities that the idea of speculation, Vern, is dangerous to the concept of utility. But at the same time, there is this idea that the utility is going to be there, and hopefully the people who buy it for speculative purposes, I'm not going to crap on people who buy it for speculative purposes, but hopefully the people who buy it for speculative purposes also take the opportunity to use it for utility purposes, right? You're going to get the rewards. You're going to build and accumulate a stock of Upland NFTs over time. And even if you sell that Sparklet at some point, you have this Upland account that you may have built along the way. And maybe you stay in Upland even though you sold your Sparklet. Again, Sparklet helps you play the game of Upland, but maybe you'll sell half your Sparklet. You still have that account in Upland. And again, you could sell it. You can find ways to sell it out in USD because there are methods to sell your properties out in the USD. It would be a secondary income source if that's what you chose to do. And again, not stopping people from doing so. That's a big part of what the game is. However, I hope there's reasons for you to stay. I hope it's a community you want to be a part of, even if you sell a lot of your Sparklet. I hope that there's continued growth in gamification, which there is plenty of reason to believe there will be, that there's plenty of interactions and continued growth in social spaces within the game, which there is. There's 3D social spaces. This is not stepping into virtual reality, but inside of Upland, there are 3D social spaces. There are avatar-driven 3D social spaces where you can take part in events. There's a couple of those continuing to grow. There will be more in the future. There are opportunities in games that are kind of linked in and tied in that use shared currency in the form of UPX. There will be continued forms of layer 2 games that will have shared currency both in UPX at some point in Sparklet as well, for utilities back and forth that are either in staking or in exchanging, where you could go and essentially wager or exchange Sparklet between parties, potentially long term. We'll see how that works. Again, in the game of Upland, the idea of Sparklet has always been it's a stakeable. It is not something that's exchanged between parties, but again, the future is the future. We'll continue to see what's happening there. My Sparklet is not leaving the game of Upland, says Lily. More power to you. I'm on the same board as you. I'm looking to see that Sparklet continue to grow. And if they bail, Vern, we may be able to take advantage. Lily. This idea that if people crash the market of Sparklet, there are people who are more interested in the game of Upland than they are in the value of Sparklet. And then they go scoop up the bottom of Sparklet to increase their holdings of Sparklet in the game of Upland. You could see that. And again, I'm not going to foresee or forecast what's going to happen in the future. I have some opinions, I have some thoughts, but I don't want people to change their buying habits because of them. I will say that, The idea that you're buying Sparklet because you think it's going to triple in value. Upland actually has some methods and some mechanisms built into their vesting schedule and some accelerators that may change supply in certain ways to reduce and limit people intentionally running up the value of Sparklet. That is a real thing. And hopefully Upland does what they can to keep in mind of pools and try to control pools a little bit, to be careful about that, because there is a supply of Upland. It's a supply of Sparklet inside of Upland. There's a supply of Sparklet outside of Upland. Theoretically, that Sparklet in accumulation between outside and inside Upland is going to max out 1 billion Sparklet. That makes it a well-defined cryptocurrency. It makes it a well-defined utility token. It's both. It's really both, and it really works both ways. But for it to be both, again, get it back in the native wallet. That's the last piece on that native wallet. Get it back in there. All right, let's take a look at my big takeaway here. A lot of people's big takeaway. Let's take a look. Let's get it. Let's get the teeth out. BitGet, HTX, Gate.io. No Goldie. No Goldie. No Goldie, no Goldie, no Goldie. I can't go there. Not for me. For somebody else. For a lot of people. For Americans, no. For let's take a look. I got the list here somewhere. I'm gonna stop sharing here so I can take a look at my list. Where did I leave it? I believe, without getting into the entire list, there are some additional restrictions. There are some locality restrictions as well, where there's certain locales that have their individual, extraneous restrictions. But here are the main non-supported restricted locations that I know about: North Korea, Netherlands, Puerto Rico, Singapore, Somalia, Sudan, and South Sudan. Again, Sudan had this whole thing about crypto. Remember, it was a big deal. Syria, again, that's for the OFAC. You're in an OFAC country. You're under sanctions of the UN. It's hard to get the deal there. Yemen, same deal. And the United States, not an OFAC country. Not under restrictions from the UN, but again, under restrictions or not having the ability to work with those particular exchanges for the most part. So look at that. And the list is longer. Yes, that is a partial list. I know Canada has issues. The UK, there's issues with the UK having access. I believe that those individuals in Portugal, which we have a number of, and those individuals in the great country of Brazil. And congratulations, all Brazilians. There's a lot of you who play the game of Upland. These exchanges allow you to go in and exchange and sell some of your Sparklet if you choose to do so, or accumulate some more Sparklet, bring it into the game if you choose to do so. You can get the rewards. You can get that Corvette. That Corvette could be yours. Again, it is a big deal. It's a big opportunity. Prizes along the way. That's where a lot of my excitement is. I like seeing those prizes in the Upland is really helping to build this pool of incentives to get people excited and activated and started in making this all happen and this all work with BitGet. I'm going to put it out there again. Butt hurt. My bottom hurts because I'm not able to participate. I will be honest across the board. Across the board, I look at the game of Upland as there's a lot of players. So there's a lot of players who can use this. I will have opportunities in the future for the decentralized exchanges where I will get rewards. Upland tells me that this will be coming. So it is coming. I have that advantage. That's coming to me. Maybe some of the people who can interact with BitGet can double dip with those decentralized exchanges and get rewards on both parties. I have to put my hands off on that one and not get too upset. But I can just say that my surprise on this was, and I had somebody tell me yesterday, I will give you a name. More Cheese was very on top of this yesterday and said, I'm concerned about this for this reason. These people can't interact with this. And, I wish it was more holistic, and I wish there was more people, and I wish it was more direct, that this is what's happening. This is why. And today I, ate a little goat because I said, ate a little crow or ate a little goat, whatever you want to say, depending on what part of the region in the world you're in. I said yesterday, I'm sure that Upland will, between now and the exchange listing, be able to get us some more exchanges in there. One that maybe I can go ahead and actually interact with. that they're not going to go to the original offering, the TGE. They're not going to actually go to that without having an opportunity for me as an American to participate in. Again, Upland is US based. Upland has a lot of US players. They have a lot of players from around the world as well, but they have a lot of US players. So I thought in my heart of hearts that they were going to make sure that there was an exchange open for Americans at the same time as the TGE. Let's be honest, there is some exchanges that are easier to get listed on, even though they're huge. BitGet's not small. There's some exchanges that are easier to get listed on. Getting listed on those earlier exchanges and having some Sparklet that's going to be exchanged and going to be in different holders and have a certain number of holders as Sparklet on Ethereum. That's what's going to allow Upland to move into other exchanges, into some of these decentralized exchanges and earn listings in those places that we otherwise would be able to interact with. So there is a stepped reason why this is happening. I'm sure Upland hasn't come out and said it directly. People have asked the questions. And again, I'm going to say more cheese here again. Asked the right questions, gotten some of the right answers. And that's the reality. I did talk about this yesterday, this concept that why are we seeing certain exchanges get listed? And I said, we see some exchanges get listed, so new exchanges can get listed, and maybe this isn't the right exchange for you, but maybe the right exchange is on the corner. I honestly yesterday thought that there would be more opportunity for more exchanges to come up, including one that I'd be able to interact with that would have been listed at the same time as the TGE. Unfortunately, we're talking about later in the TGE. Maybe it's in my benefit. Maybe the values do all this squirrely bits for a week. And then I can, when I have a decentralized exchange, maybe I buy a little bit, interact with the activity a little bit. Maybe the market's more stabilized at that point. Or maybe I take advantage of a little dippy dip. I don't know what's going to happen. Again, I'm not trying to forecast the future of the value of Sparklet. That's not my role. That's something I don't want to get pegged for. I don't want someone to say, but Goldie said this was going to happen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying value's going to go up or down. It'll do both. Reality, it'll do both. No question. But I'm not saying it's going to be higher and lower in 2 weeks. But I am saying that I am looking forward to whatever the activity Upland gives me. I may be moving some USD around to purchase in Sparklet at the time when I have the opportunity to do so, especially if there's incentives and rewards for doing so. I like incentives rewards, especially in the form of Sparklet, especially if they're in the form of a Corvette, a digital Corvette in the game of Upland. I could go for that as well. So we will see. We will see how Upland handles that. I appreciate the fact that there will be future rewards. I am still a little hurt that we have limitations on who can participate with the TGE. Again, it's such a big event. It really is. It's such a big event. It's something that we've been building towards for 9 months. We'll do that. That's better. It's something we've been building towards for 9 months. It's something that we've been building towards for 5 years, really. Even if it wasn't a direct plan, even if it wasn't in the original white paper, it's something that is the expansion of Upland for the purpose of a more global, a more expanded, a more versatile, and a more responsive. And I say responsive because there's on-ramps in and there's off-ramps out. A more responsive metaverse, and potentially allowing additional ties between Upland and other metaverses. The idea that we have a cryptocurrency that can be used inside of Upland, throughout Upland, exchanged outside of Upland, acquired outside of Upland, brought into Upland, and potentially used in ecosystems and metaverses, or I should say metaverse spaces, one metaverse, many metaverse spaces, used in other metaverse spaces. That is kind of this idea of a unified metaverse theory. If there is multiple metaverses that are international and, each of these metaverses exist as entities that expand and that bridge countries, it would make sense that there is a token or there is an exchange of currency that is separate from the US dollar, is separate from the yen or the won, is separate from a ruble, that is going to be able to be used between multiple countries and have a unified value. And again, crypto, that's kind of the value of crypto. I am not a crypto maxi. I am not somebody who says, buy this, hold on forever, watch it go up. I'm not somebody who is a day trader who buys a bunch of crypto, wants it to go up, watches it rocket, and then sell it, and doesn't care if it crashes down the next day. But I am somebody who sees a utility token that has a value that can be tied to a utility, Sparklet, for example, that has a value that can be tied to a utility that can be exchanged between parties. Maybe the values change over time. Maybe they stay pretty close. But they can be exchanged between parties, and parties can use them for utility purposes. I can see that as being very valuable to a meta venture. And I say meta venture is a business inside of the metaverse. That is a term coined by Upland. It is the name of this channel, Meta Venturist. The idea of building businesses inside the metaverse or inside metaverse spaces. So the idea that this is going to continue to be the growth of Upland or be a part of the growth of Upland, it makes a lot of sense regardless of what the provenance is. And because of all of these things over here that is the future, I kind of wish that the provenance was a little different. I kind of wish that it was more expansive, that it was more inclusive, maybe more inclusive. I don't need it to be huge. I just need it to be more broad, more open. If it was more open, more people could participate to day one. It would just feel better to me. Again, this is not saying that I don't understand what's happening here. I get it. I get the point that we're doing A so we can do B. And B is going to be beautiful. And A as part of B is beautiful. And A and B and C, all of those together, that's where the real beauty lies. I'm good with that. And I can understand that. And I'm going to look forward to the future of the rollout and of the decentralized exchanges and my opportunity to sell Sparklet or buy Sparklet. Like I said, I'm not interested in selling Sparklet, but to buy more Sparklet if I choose to, for other people who want to get out of the game of Upland, who are out of the game of Upland except for their Sparklet, to, excuse me, to sell their Sparklet to people who want to bring that Sparklet back into the game of Upland. Beautiful. And I actually want to point this out too, before I go down one more rabbit hole. This is kind of fun because, and this was not something that I foresaw yesterday, but I really like this because the actual launch date, the exchange listing, the initial exchange listing is tomorrow. The current airdrop, we already have one airdrop campaign. The current airdrop campaign is actually taking place after, it started before, but it's actually taking place after the TGE, after the actual listing event, which means the Sparklet you earn during this exchange or during the airdrop, it's not going to be considered TGE. So people who come in, who came in for the airdrop, they're not going to be the same as the pre-TGE holders. So they're not going to get the pre-TGE holder rewards. I think this is a important and key distinction. Again, if you believed in Upland, if you came into Upland prior to the listing for other reasons, there's a way to help reward those people. They came in thinking that the value of Sparklet was based on this, this, and this. And now we changed the valuation of Sparklet for a bunch of reasons, for listing reasons. And because of that, that's why we are helping rebalance your value or your holdings, your amount of Sparklet, to help maintain your overall holding, aka value or value at the time of TGE, approximated value at time of TGE by expanding the number of Sparklet you held or you hold. So for that and with that concept, I think it was well executed. I think it was well considered. I think that some would argue because we had a Sparklet airdrop previously, some of the people who earned a ton of Sparklet for non-Upland activities, for the promotional activities, maybe that shouldn't have been considered TGE or pre-TGE. I'm sorry, pre-TGE activity. It happened pre-TGE. It happened before we really had a strong idea of when the listing was. I'm good with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with those people getting an additional bonus on top of the bonus they already got for spreading the word about Upland. And we already talked about the reality of the airdrop and what's going on with that airdrop. We'll remind ourselves that is ongoing. It is started already. We'll take a peek. We're going to continue to take a peek on a daily basis or bi-daily basis to see if there are new events to take part in, because we're going to want to make sure we're not missing them. If you're participating with the airdrop, more power to you. Continue to do your activities along the way. You will get rewards along the way. We won't get into the details because we already did that last night. Let's look at a couple more things. Okay. We already looked at BitGet launch pool. I can't participate. I can't get rewards. Set that aside. Again, this OG campaign. All right. I can't participate. Emoji? No participate. But I do get that purchase bonus. So I will gladly take that. Come down here for my purchase bonus. Come down here for this. And again, I already kind of dropped a little bit on this. This is a big deal. That multiplier, the more activity, it gets a little funky in the middle, right? It's easy to get the 5, 6, 7. It's harder to get 8, 9, 10 because Upland, it kind of has those stretch goals. There's some things that are like build 5 structures, different cities. That's a big deal. It can be. It can take a lot of spark, but Upland, incentivizing holding a lot of spark. Go figure. Almost like it ties in together, almost like it's cyclical a little bit here. So that is something for sure to keep your eye out on. Put in the effort. This is going to push that effort. We're going to see a lot more people with 12, 13, 14, 15 of their tasks completed. This is one person who's going to have more tasks completed in the future seasons than I have in the past. And that's because I value Sparklet. I value Sparklet a ton, and I want to continue to see my Sparklet holdings increase. The points calculated again, multiplying your minimum Sparklet count. It's a big deal. Multiplier is a big deal here. I think it's well done. I think it makes seasons more dynamic. I think it makes seasons more fun. Jimmy Jester, it is like when they dropped the TH treasure hunting browser. People that cannot use a phone to treasure hunt make treasure hunting great again. I think it's reverting back to. I don't know what's reverting back. I apologize, Jimmy. Maybe I lost that point there. I lost that vein here. But about the spark holders, maybe. Back to the top 20 spark holders. Whales dumping to make it easier. I don't know. We'll watch. We'll watch and see what we have for available spark balances here. Again, I'm not speculating on what values you're going to do when. But if you're watching what's happening on values outside the game of Upland, you may be able to buy Sparklet when it's a price that makes sense for you and bring it into the game of Upland with the understanding of gas fees, and that may reduce the overall holdings that you have in Sparklet in the game of Upland compared to outside the game of Upland. Moreover, bridging in at least 500 Sparklet again, it's going to get you additional season rewards. That's once we have Dexes. So I'm looking forward to Dexes. We're looking forward to all of this. The idea that this is going to be spread out over months, I think it is a very intelligent way to do rewards. I'm looking forward to continuing to see Upland be intelligent about this long-term release. This is not something that happens overnight. This is rewarding people who've been part of the game for a long time, over time. They don't want to just say, thank you for having bought Spark 3 years ago. Here's your reward. Bye. They want to say, thank you for buying Spark 3 years ago. Come play the game of Upland. Here's your rewards. And I am all for it because I am going to continue to be active in the game of Upland. I'm going to continue to see my Sparklet balance grow. I'm going to encourage the people who don't have activity in Upland now. Maybe you don't get to take part in this, but there's other opportunities to bring your Sparklet in the game of Upland and see them have value over time. And I hope Upland continues to prioritize this over time. Welcoming the new people, kind of have rewards and activities for people who are primarily Sparklet holders and not primarily Upland asset holders, Upland property holders. Maybe you build your assets in the game of Upland over time. Maybe you build your property holdings in the game of Upland over time. But there might be people who come into the game of Upland who are major Sparklet holders who've never owned a Upland property. And then maybe there's ways to support that, and I hope that Upland's able to do so. This is a note here that I want to touch base on a little bit. And then I got to talk about this sale for some block explorers. And I've had some different feelings about these sales on Block Explorers as these have happened over time, as the price pointings haven't changed, as the difference between USD and UPX has kind of shifted as far as market's concerned for the most part. But I do want to still note a couple things here along the way. Yes, historic event before we leave this. This is true. This is historic. This is a big deal. This is good for everyone in Upland in many ways. This is better for people who can be part of the TGE. This is better. And I'm smiling because I think it brings me a little bit of giddy joy. How much of that is masking pain? I can't tell you, but it does bring a little bit of joy. This is exciting. This is a big deal. This is a matter of the future of Upland and opening and expanding opportunities for people in Upland to get out if they want to, or people who are in the game of Upland who want to increase their holdings in Sparklet to increase their holdings in Sparklet, or people who are new to Upland or bought Sparklet just for the idea of using it as a hold it and bag it and hopefully it becomes worth more type of holding, to bring into Upland, to experience Upland, to grow in Upland, to be part of the future of Upland. Maybe come and be creators in Upland. Maybe come and be a UGC creator, create actual digital assets, designs for digital assets, and maybe have a meta venture, maybe sell those, maybe create a meta venture, the new quality or qualification of meta venture we'll have in the future, which is going to be social experiences like cafes, 3D environments where people can do different things and promote media and put out media and potentially charge for people's access to different types of media. It's going to be bigger later than it is today when I talk about the game of Upland. How much polish can Upland grow when it brings in people who are bringing in money to the game? Who knows? I mean, this does bring in money to the game of Upland. It will bring in money to the game of Upland that we have people buying we'll have people buying Sparklet inside the game of Upland. We will have Upland, having people who are investing or earning money in the game of Upland in different ways, potentially bringing that money back into the game of Upland or investing in the game of Upland. People who are using Sparklet to earn UPX, then using that UPX inside the game of Upland to expand their holdings inside the game of Upland. This is going to change the economy in many ways. And it's not necessarily one way or the other. It's not necessarily the greatest thing in the world for the economy because it's going to change the amount of effort one person versus another person has put in, and the balance of people spending USD to buy UPX. There's the overall percentage of the UPX that were purchased that way versus earned in different ways. I've talked about that in the past. That has created differentiation between the UPX market and the USD market, the way things sell on one market versus the other. However, it is going to be a new set of customers, a new set of players looking to continue to see that grow. And again, give them reasons to stay. And the more reasons they give them to stay, the more reasons me and the other players who've been playing Upland for many years have to stay, have to enjoy ourselves, have to smile as well along the way. Again, Upland has had a bunch of Genesises. We celebrate Genesis Week every year. We just left Genesis season. I think there's an irony here, right? We just left Genesis season. We left Genesis season, the 15th, right? So we left Genesis season just over a week ago. And this is one of the biggest Genesis in the game of Upland. We've taken a currency or we're taking a token inside the game of Upland, which has value, and we've let it stay valuable in the game of Upland. We've expanded its utility over the years. We've continued to have more reasons to hold it. We've also created the ability, after years of not having it, to exchange it between parties. I can get rid of the Sparklet that I've owned for years, sell it to you. You want it to bring it back in the game of Upland, to play with, to do things with. I don't want it anymore. That's between two Uplanders, potentially two Uplanders, and have that come back in the game of Upland. There's a bunch of people who are crypto heads. There's a bunch of people who are going to buy that token and say, let's see it go. And again, I'm not going to crap on them. I'm not going to say you're a bad person, but I am going to point out that once you own that Sparklet, you own something that belongs inside of an NFT or NFT. Yeah, NFT metaverse, an NFT-driven metaverse. And that's going to help you interact with NFTs or generate NFTs. That's going to help you build and grow holdings inside that ecosystem. And it is not giving up the value of that token, that crypto you bought. It's not giving up the value of that crypto you bought to bring it in and have the utility inside the ecosystem. It's choosing to stake it in a certain environment. And when you bridge it in to stake it again, you might have some gassing to get it in there. It is what it is, but you might have some gassing to get in there. But if you're going to hold it long term, small gassing with the idea that you're going to have long term utility. So I do want to put that out there. I want people to keep that idea out there and be ready for it. Very much ready for it. The idea that here's Sparklet's best place, as far as my opinion is concerned. As far as I can see for today, things may change in the future. Your best place to put Sparklet is back into Upland. Utilize it, take care of it, and take advantage of it. Decide what you want to do with Sparklet in 3 to 5 years, or 2 weeks, or 6 weeks. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do. But in the meantime, park it in Upland is my recommendation. Good luck to you. Let's get on to the next thing. Here we go. All right. Upland has to say this. They have to do this. They like to sell these things to commemorate. This is a USD purchase of OPEX with a sweetener. We see these all the time. Sparklet Salvatore Block Explorers. Just to cap off the excitement around Sparklet going live on listings, we have some block explorers to share with you all. Registration starts today the 9th. Today at 9 a.m. PT. And the sale will begin tomorrow, Wednesday, July 24th at 9 a.m. PT. Easy enough. The registrations do need to be done in advance. They do close at 8 a.m. PT the day of sale. The sale is going to be restricted, theoretically, in order to the people who have registered. I will tell you a secret. Yay, secret time. The secret is the last couple of sales have not sold out quickly. That's because the price points largely stayed the same over a long period of time. But there's some interesting things on this one. Number one, it's nice to celebrate Sparklet. People are excited about it. Number two, they have done some rarities in a little bit different way. So there are going to be one sweetener. Well, there's going to be one sweetener in the bundle. 30,000 UPEX is the reward, or is the exchange what you're getting for the $30 USD. And you get one of 4 Sparklet Block Explorers. That's what the sweetener is. There's the Shadow Sparklet. That's the Shadow Sparklet. There's the Wings of Sparklet. That's the Wings of Sparklet. There's the Golden Sparklet. Ooh, I'm not sharing my screen. Oh, my God. Oh, woe is me. Get this back up so you can see it. There it is. Ta-da. Ta-da. There's the Golden Sparklet. 30,000 UPEX on the Golden Sparklet. Again, look at the quantities. So you have a relative rarity along the line. 125 of the Shadow. 125 of the Wings of. 25 of the Golden. And then 25 of the Golden Wings of Sparklet. Block Explorers, just an identifier inside the game of Upland. It is an NFT asset. You can hold it. You have a mint number. You can sell it. You can display it in the game. Registration starts, again, already started today. Sale tomorrow. $30 a bundle. 30 bundles total available. Don't miss out. Blah, blah, blah. Limited time. Blah, 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 blah. Again, I mean... the idea that Upland likes the bundle is fine. It's one of those crack a pack. Did I get lucky? Maybe, just maybe, these golden ones that there's only 25 of, maybe they have a significant value more than these ones that are of higher circulation. Obviously, that's normally the case, and we normally see that. So I get that. Crack a pack, you get lucky, you get the gold one. It's great. I'm okay with that. Again, what I had said last time, and I'll say it again, we used to have these where you spent $5, you got 5,000 UPEX, you got a Block Explorer. It was more common than the other Block Explorers because there was more of those bundles available. And then there's less of the bundles of the lower circulation one, obviously, a little bit higher value. And you keep going up the line. And the lower circulation value theoretically has a higher value on the open market later on down the line because there's fewer of them available. That's normally how these things work, or how they worked in the past. Now that Upland's big into these bundles, I'll be honest with you, it almost feels like it's harder for them to sell these. It almost feels like if they had kind of divided them up in a little different way and people knew what they were getting and they knew if they were paying a little more, they were getting the more rare one, it does almost feel like they might sell as many, if not more. And some people would be more happy with those. That's just a suggestion. Maybe it's possible. And like I said, we've seen the values on these largely stay the same, where you're still getting blank 1,000 UPIX for blank dollars, right? You get 1,000 UPIX per dollar, and then the sweetener is Block Explorer. We've seen growing deviations between the UPIX and the USD market, and we haven't seen any changes or extra sweetenings in these bundles. If anything, them being bundles rather than being specified rewards, it makes it less valuable to the guy who gets the most common one. It makes it less exciting and enticing if you think, oh, I'm going to get the one there's 125 of. I'm going to spend $30 for it. I'm going to get 30,000 UPIX. Ooh, versus it used to be if you bet the $30 one, I think it would be a more rare one, like one of 50 maybe. Some of them, there was ones of 25 that were like 30, $40. You spend 30, $40, you get one of 25, and you're going to get that. And you get your 30,000 UPIX. You spent $30. You get your one of 25. You knew you're going to get that gold one, for example. And that makes those people more excited. And maybe they're willing to spend $10 to get the one of 125 along with 10,000 UPIX. And again, you just know what you're getting. It's a little more exciting for people. It's a little more balanced for people. So I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, with the idea that this is the reality of what we've got now. I think it's a differentiated offering. I think that there'd be more people excited if it was the old way, but that's just me. And then otherwise, I do want to say this. This is definitely a time we're celebrating. For me, it's a big deal. For me, it is a launch pad for Upland. It is not like to the moon. Watch Sparklet become worth hundreds of dollars. It's a launch pad in that we can use this time to bring new life into the game of Upland, and potentially with the listing of Sparklet, create Sparklet or grow Sparklet into a crypto / token or utility token that can have interoperability between multiple ecosystems within the metaverse space, between multiple metaverse destinations. That would be the value of Sparklet. If that could happen, that would be what would make Sparklet special. And again, if you ask me, this is probably the first step along the way. Getting it listed, being able to have people buy Sparklet, being able to have people take Sparklet, bring it back into Game of Upland, and have utility here as they wait to decide what they want to do with that Sparklet outside the Game of Upland. And with that, I do want to say two more things. Number one, this is a big deal. If you participate, more power to you. I may say that I have concerns over this idea that it excludes a large portion of the game of Upland, that it excludes a lot of players who were early in the game of Upland. They put a lot of effort, time, and money into the game of Upland to help make sure Upland could get to this point, to get to the point of listing. And it feels like it is a reverse reward, or it is a delayed reward, or it is a secondary reward where some of the people, not all of the people, there have been international players who've been in the game for a very long time, and they will be some of the ones who can reap the rewards of TGE potentially if they choose to do so. And when I say rewards, I'm talking about the bonuses. I'm not talking about taking huge profits out. Maybe somebody does that. It is what it is. But the rewards of getting these points for the pools and all those along the way, and potentially getting the Corvette. But it does feel a little weird that the OGs, the people who've been in the game for years, aren't eligible for some of the best upfront games. I do really appreciate the fact that Upland reserved future rewards for people who take part in the dexes, and the dexes are continuing to come, and I get that, and I appreciate that. And again, it does balance. The two balance, I'm okay with it. And I do want to put this out there one more time. I've said it. I'm not the first one to say it. I appreciate people bringing this to me. I did say it yesterday in a different way, but one happens before the other. We have the listing on some of the exchanges that I can't participate in, so that we can have the listing on an exchange that I can be a part of. That is necessary, it appears. I had hoped that the announcement could precede the actual listing by weeks or months. And during that period, we could get some listing on Dexes. It's fine. It is what it is. I'm going to get my reward. Different people are going to get a different reward than me. I cannot be too bitter. I cannot be too sour. I am getting rewards along the ways based on the activities I've done in Upland in the past, and I appreciate it. I appreciate that Upland is putting a lot of effort, time, and thought into this launch. I appreciate that they've put a lot of effort, time, and thought into the white paper. I am not excited about the Sparklet release because it's a cryptocurrency. I'm excited about the release of Sparklet because it is that on-ramp for new players coming into the game of Upland. I'm excited about Sparklet because of Sparklet listing because it is that off-ramp for people who've said, Upland, please, I've got all this Sparklet. I don't know what to do with it. I don't want to play Upland anymore, but I feel like it's a bait and switch. I feel like it's locked assets. It's not locked assets, buddy. If you want to sell your Sparklet, you can sell your Sparklet. Again, I don't think Upland ever wanted to put anyone in a position where, they felt like it was a bait and switch, where they said, I spent hundreds of dollars buying Sparklet, but I'm stuck with this Sparklet. You're not stuck with this Sparklet anymore. It had utility in the game of Upland. Hopefully you were able to use it. Hopefully you had fun along the way. You can keep it and continue to have utility with it. You can choose to sell it and use that money to go buy yourself a pony. Or if you didn't spend that much, or you just earned yours and didn't spend $1 on Sparklet, like a lot of the people who've been complaining about the locked asset of Sparklet over the years. You can take that. Maybe it's not a lot. Maybe it's a little. Maybe you can at least get yourself an ice cream cone if that's what you want to do. And maybe the next person who gets up and turns around and gets that Sparklet, maybe that next person is going to enjoy it a little more than you did. Or maybe that next person is at the very least going to be able to stake it in ways that you weren't able to do so. So I was looking forward to it. I'm excited. Listing is tomorrow, and let's see this happen. Thank you so much for being here. It's late enough that I can say this. Good night. Thank you so much. We're here back again Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. PT. We will have plenty to report and to go over and to discuss because with the listing of Sparklet tomorrow, we can come back and we can have more discussions. With the listing of Sparklet tomorrow, we can see what happens. Upland will likely have announcements along the way. It will be good, bad, or indifferent, but we will have plenty to talk about. And additionally, we can talk about the one thing we haven't been able to talk about for years, at least for 9 months, and that is the listing price of Sparklet. What happens when the day happens? And again, I don't want to focus on the value too much because the value will change, but the utility inside the game of Upland hopefully won't. But I really do want to see what happens, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about what happens in the USD value, and we'll look forward to whatever other announcements are along the way. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. PT. Meet you here, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you. And again, one last item. If you're in the Upland Discord, feel free. Unmute your mics. The floor is yours.